You guys, come on up towards the front. Come on up. Come towards the front. Fill yourself in up here, up here. We can't be having this dead space here. So why don't you guys? You guys don't see yourself behind a speaker. Please, please let me help you.
Jonathan wants to make direct eye contact with us, right? Yep. Front and center.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your kind and cooperation.
Thanks for always being the Oh, so you had to wait.
Yeah, it is.
That's how it is.
They have a queen and a screen brother. They have a queen brothers and they have a screamer.
And it's just like ask one question. Like every strategy, I just remember no, there's especially like I don't want to keep this stop and go interaction.
I wonder if this is going to be the same kind of theme.
My day was fine. Yeah, no,
There's someone who's like yelling about it.
And Orion.
Oh, yeah.
I feel so. I feel like
What are you doing in there? Come on over, man. We got a couch. It's like decent or something. We also have a place
and everybody came over and everybody check in with my person tomorrow.
You can bring food. Women in American liking.
My cat would never trust me ever.
We can keep moving in a little bit.
Yeah, it's just like
Welcome to Jonathan Savage's original one-man show, Farewell to the West. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Nika Woodcoss, and I had the privilege of Jonathan directing my show just some time ago in this very same space. So we're really excited for the roles to be a little bit reversed tonight, and I get to introduce my dear friend. So everybody here knows that Jonathan is the real deal. We were blessed with this amazing professional singer, actor, dancer who was sort of meandering his way west to ride out the pandemic and somehow landed in our lovely little abode. So we're so thrilled that we got to spend the winter with him. And as we kind of get ready to say goodbye, this is an opportunity for him to share some of the artistic work that he did here and about his experiences being here. I also want to say a big thanks to Electric Peak Arts Council for supporting this event tonight. This is kind of the closing event of our Art of Quarantine project. And since we have some other artists in the audience tonight, can you raise your hand if you were an Art of Quarantine artist? Woohoo! So thank you so much to everybody in the community who stepped up to create original pieces of art to boost everybody's spirits during a really strange time. So thank you so much to all of our AOQ artists. I also need to thank some of our sponsors. So this Electric Peak Arts Council season was supported in part by the Western States Art Federation, the Montana Arts Council, the Montana Performing Arts Consortium, Park County Community Foundation, the Gardner Resort Area District, Gardner Market, Wonderland Cafe and Lodge, Yellowstone Park Service Stations, Bill Berg and Colette Dagelberg, Chuck and Wynell Middlebrooks, and many, many, many others. So big thanks to those sponsors. If you enjoy EPAC events, we do encourage you to maybe donate a few dollars this summer during our Give a Hoot campaign, where those funds will be matched by the Park County Community Foundation. So every little bit helps. Furthermore, this is not a ticketed event, but if you do want to donate, you can navigate over to Jonathan's Instagram page, JustSavage5. And you can make a donation to him via PayPal or Venmo. A portion of those proceeds are going to benefit Little People's Learning Center in Mammoth. Without further ado, let's please give a warm welcome to the one, the only Jonathan Savage.
Get you a boyfriend. He says he'll need tech, he says. Can't work the camera, he says. I'm waiting to do this all night. Oh, okay, now we can start? Oh, thank you, Gavin. The legend goes, there's an island that no one knows in the Adriatic Sea, with a song that will bring you to your knees, you to your knees. For the person with whom we could fall, and that's when we heard the call. We heard
So he got on a ship and he sailed out to sea. He didn't know where he was going, but he knew the wind would take him where he was meant to be. Through the wind and the rain, through the thunder and the lightning, he finally spotted sand. And as he dragged himself to shore with his spirit almost broken, he looked up and he held out his hand. And he said, I've been waiting for you. If someone wants to hear the song, just sit tight, it comes to us all. Be honest and open and kind, and as the legend goes, then you'll find your call. Your call.
I can't believe this is actually happening. This has been a bit of a brainchild for a while, and it's so crazy this is happening. I just realized that this is literally the first time I've performed in like a year and a half, and this is really cool. So thank you so much for being here. As we all know, 2020 and parts of 2021 have been particularly difficult years, and I can't speak for everybody, but I can speak for artists, and it has been a hard time for artists, and a lot of us during this time have had what I like to call our big creative reckoning, and this show is mine. So thank you for being here. Before we jump in, I do have to say, well, Nico's already mentioned it, so I guess I don't have to say it, but I've rehearsed saying it, so I'm going to say it. While this is not a ticketed event, donations will be accepted, and a portion of the proceeds will be going to Little People's Learning Center, which is the preschool that I work at, which we'll get to people who don't know that yet. And yeah, so let's get out on. So like all great stories, let's start from the very beginning. A very good place to start. Pause. Okay, everybody in the audience, you may not have gotten that joke, but I promise you everybody on the live stream is probably laughing their asses off. Well, probably not, because it's a pretty overdone joke, but thank you. Someone laughed. I think it goes to show what's really interesting, a theme that's going to come up tonight about these two different worlds that I feel like I live in. Here in person in front of me now are my Montana family, my outdoor family, my Western family, and I'm just so grateful you are here. And on the live stream is my New York family, my artist family, my blood family, hey guys, and other people from walks in my life. And while I wish you guys could be in the same place together, only this will have to do for now. So while there are so many things that I think lead up to how this is possible, the place I choose to start this story is the day Broadway shut down. So I specifically remember I was in a rehearsal studio and I was going over callback material for what was supposed to be a final callback for what very well could have been my Broadway debut. And I had vocal surgery like 3 years prior, and with injury comes trauma, and it's very hard to get over that trauma. And I worked very hard, and here I was. I never felt better. I never felt stronger, more capable, more confident in my talent, and ready to just go into that room and nail it. And at the same time, I had a really awesome contract lined up for the summer that I was so excited about, called Super You the Musical. Lord's Lane, who wrote it, should be on the live stream tonight. So hey, Lord, oh, you're that the camera. Lords, I love you. You're amazing. And it was just a show I was super passionate about. I still am. Just incredible music, incredible team, incredible story. Super You Will Be Back. Check out their concept album. It'll melt your face off. It's amazing. But so obviously receiving this news, you can imagine I was pretty devastated and pretty heartbroken because I worked so hard to get to this point, and I had moved to the city 2 years prior, and I'd worked my ass off to just be here, and now the entire world had just stopped. And I was like, okay, well, what do I do now? And I was like, well, you know what? I'm gonna do whatever I want to do. So I played video games, and I picked up, one of the things I did is I picked up my guitar and was like, I want to get better at guitar. And this song you just heard called The Call just kind of came out of me, and I was like, oh yeah, I like writing. That's fun. And you know, quarantine, as I'm sure all of you know, is hard because you have to sit with yourself and really take a hard look at yourself because there's literally nothing else to do. And I was talking to a friend about this, and I was worrying about something, and she was like, oh, you care too much about what people think about you. And I was like, yes. And she was like, well, don't. It's exhausting and it wastes energy. And I was like, well, that's easy for you to say. And part of the reason quarantine was so hard for me personally was that I was getting over a heartbreak. I had been broken up with 6 months prior in a relationship I put way too much of myself into. And I realized that the first step to truly working on not caring what people thought about me was to get over this relationship that I had tied so much of my self-esteem to. You know, it's so hard getting over someone. It takes so much longer than you want it to, and it's so much harder than you want it to be. And I would wake up in the morning, and it would be the first thing I'd think of, and it'd feel like a ton of bricks. And I just had to push it off and get through my day. And I remember I was worrying about a decision I had to make, and out of my mind's eye, I saw this train coming towards me called What Would He Think? And I kid you not, I put up my literal fist, and I went, no. It doesn't matter what he thinks. And that was the first moment I was like, okay, this is me actively in this decision, in this moment, making this decision to move on. So I wrote the song about it. When I wake up, always search for you. Face the honest truth that you're not there. Usually hurts like a bitch. It's like a cold water dive. It makes you feel alive, so I count on it. If I don't feel these feelings, did I ever have those feelings at all? I don't know who I am without this heartbreak taking over my life. But today, when I woke up, I didn't search for you, I didn't feel the need to. I was enough for me. I'm releasing these shackles that I put on me. I'm tired of barking up and down the same old tree. Happiness can be a choice to some degree. So today, I choose to be. But that was today. Come tomorrow, who's to say that my lighthouse won't be beating him down? I put in the work. Feels will have their say, so I redefine the way I interact with them. But I don't want to forget why I had to work so damn hard. Yeah, I'm releasing these shackles that I put on me. I'm tired of barking up and down the same old tree. Happiness can be a choice to some degree, so today I choose to be free. Every day's a gamble, I don't know what I have to handle, but I know there's much more than him. Growing up is rough, admitting that you need to stuff. Mistakes are made, regrets you have to live with, oh. But I won't give up the vision, and my mind's made up of the person who I'm striving to be. When the shadows close on in, to live myself again, it's pressure you put on yourself. So I'm releasing these shackles that I put on me. I'm tired of barking up and down the same old tree. Happiness can be a choice to some degree, so today I choose to be free.
I'm releasing these shackles that I put on me. I'm tired of barking up and down the same old tree. Happiness can be a choice to some degree. So today, I choose to be free. I wrote that. So, quarantine, while it was really hard, it was also at the same time, and I'm very fortunate to have been in this position where this was possible because this was not the case for everybody. It was a hell of a lot of fun. Again, I had never had so much time to myself in my life, and I didn't feel bad about it. And one thing I did was I rode my bike everywhere because one of my favorite things in the world is riding my bike. And I remember it was the beginning of quarantine, and thank God quarantine happened in the spring. Could you imagine if this happened in the fall and it was like cold for all of isolation? Like, that would have sucked. But it wasn't. It was warm, and it was still early, and it was kind of rainy, and everybody was still scared because they're like, oh, what is coronavirus? And what is coronavirus? And I was like, okay, you know what? I want to bike the length of Manhattan. So I biked from the top of the island all the way down. I biked down Broadway, which is the biggest street in New York. I got to Columbus Circle. I was the only vehicle in Columbus Circle, which was crazy. I went through Times Square, Bryant Park, Union Square. I went across the Brooklyn Bridge. Jonathan learned to speak. Brooklyn Bridge. There were maybe 20 people on the Brooklyn Bridge, and it was crazy. I got this really cool picture of me on my bike, and it was just really cool because when else would I have ever had the chance to experience the city this empty? It was crazy, and I was like, wow, I'm very fortunate for this. And the sun eventually came out, and I got to take my shirt off and bike, and that was great. And wherever I go, I find spots, like little places where I can read and just sing through the musical theater canon by myself and just be me. And it was a great chance to just really inhabit my city in a way that I hadn't before. But pretty soon we were talking about, I was leaving, my lease was coming up, and I was like, well, you know what? Theater's not coming back for a long time. I kind of want to go west. That sounds really fun right now. And I had done a really huge road trip a few months prior, and I was like, I know I could do it. I just have to figure out how. So I decided I wanted to work in a national park. And I started doing research, and I was researching, talking to people, sending me to internships, all these different things, blah, 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 blah. And it was past the hiring season, so that wasn't really an option for me. And the volunteer positions weren't really feasible either because I couldn't afford it, and I didn't have a vehicle at the time. And there was a point where I thought I was going to move to Alaska and work in a dispensary and volunteer, like the Fish and Wildlife Park or whatever it's called. That didn't happen. But I was starting to freak out because I really want to do this. And I know if I just keep pushing, I can figure out a way to make this happen. And my friend John, he was like, well, I have a friend named Callaway, and she lives in a van in Moab, and she's a raft guide. And I was like, well, A, that sounds really cool. And B, I didn't think about recreational outdoors. That sounds really fun. So I called her, and she was like, yeah, Moab is one of the rock climbing epicenters of the world. And I was like, oh, well, I've always wanted to rock climb. This sounds awesome. And she was like, yeah, people just come out here and they figure it out. So just do that. And I was like, okay, what have I got to lose? So I packed up my entire apartment in New York and put it all in a storage unit in New Jersey. And that's hard, but I did it. And I remember it was my last day in New York. I'm staying near the mic, Jonathan. It was my last day in New York, and I was doing what I call my JSAV farewell bike tour de force, where I biked by all of my favorite spots. And I wrote in my journal, and I said to myself, continue to be kind, lead with love, and be yourself. Ask for help, be humble, and don't be a hero. You are not the expert on backpacking and camping and outdoors. Be open to learning, listen, you can always breathe. I often don't breathe. And, it was really scary. I was like, I've just spent my entire life. Nobody knows what's going on to this industry. But I was like, but you know what? I'm going to do it anyways. And I did. And I went out with John and Justin, who are two great friends of mine. And they were like, yeah, we'll go on a vacation and you'll buy the one-way ticket and that's fine. And then we went out to go meet Callaway and a friend of ours named Mickey. So it was the five of us. And we had the best time. We were in Moab and we just kind of
I probably shouldn't say this because there's children in the audience, but we just kind of like dicked around for like 2 weeks. And it was so fun. We did everything. We went rock climbing, we went canyoneering, we went rafting, we went highlining. So my first day, we get there and Callaway's like, I really want to take you guys to Looking Glass Arch, which is this natural arch. And they have rigged like a highline across it, and it's like 300 feet in the air. And I've never in my life before, but I'm like, sure, why not? And if it's done correctly, it's very safe. So please calm down, my family. But they're like, get on. I was like, okay. And I just like scooched out and I took this massive whip and they were like, yeah, savage. And I was like, great, I earned my own last name. Yay. And I was like, if this is the tone of the rest of the trip, great. Cause like, this is what I wanted out of this day one. We're rocking it. And then after that, we went on a month-long road trip with a P&W, and it was amazing. And my tent got rained out outside of Mount Rainier, and everything I owned got wet, and that was fun. Actually, because I was like, you know, this is what I signed up for. Here we are. And it was just great. It was a great trip with great people, and I'm super grateful. They were just the best people to be with. And this next song I wrote while I was in New York. It's about biking in New York. But I found myself singing it all the time when I was doing adventure things. So here we go. It's called I Got the Sun. I'm having the best day of my life. You see, I'm smiling out from ear to ear. Whoa, I'm having the best day of my life. I'm telling everyone who wants to hear. I'm telling everybody, cause I gotta tell somebody. Cause I'm busting at the seams to say that those lovely leaves are ringing and those dope ass birds are singing. Can you feel the wind rip over my face? And I got the sun. I got the sun. I got the sun. Nothing's in my way. No, I got the sun. I got the sun. I got the sun. Nothing's in my way. No, 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 no. I feel a shiver running my spine and a warm feeling inside of my heart. Is full of possibilities and adventures about to start. The sunlight on my skin, those endorphins rushing in as I look across the fields of my day. But nothing could be funner than the outdoors in the summer. Does anyone want to come out and play? And I got the sun. I got the sun. I got the sun. Nothing's in my way. No, I got the sun. I got the sun. I got the sun. Nothing's in my way. No, 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 no. Oh, ba-da, 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 whoa, 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 whoa. I got the sun. I got the sun. I got the sun. Nothing's in my way. No, I got the sun. I got the sun. I got the sun. Nothing's in my way. No, 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 no. Whoa, whoa. Yeah, so all through this trip, I'm kind of like, what's next? Because I bought this one-way ticket. I'm out here with a backpack and a duffel bag and no plans. And the boys have plans to go back to New York, and the girls have lives out west already, and I have nothing. And pretty soon, I've decided, you know, I want to buy a van. I want to buy a van. Van life is it, and I want to do it. And so I start doing research, and I have this vision in my mind that I want to drive the boys back to the airport at the end of their trip as this like beautiful full circle moment as like, I have my now. And I also have it in my mind that when I see my van, I'm going to know it. I'm going to know that's it. And that's the van. And so I start doing research, and I'm looking everywhere. I'm on CarMax, I'm on Carfax, I'm on Facebook Marketplace, and I'm starting to stress out because time is starting to run out if I'm going to make this dream come true. And there's this one van that keeps popping up whenever I look at Facebook Marketplace in Salt Lake. And probably didn't need to know that, but I was like, oh, well, that looks really cool. And it's like it says 1995 Dodge Ram van. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to buy a 25-year-old van. That would be very dumb. But I'm like, what if I just clicked on it? And I click on it. And the thing was like totally flipped. Like there was a new engine and transmission with only like 200 miles on it. New paint job, a ladder was put on the back, wood paneling. There was a Bluetooth speaker. There's USB ports throughout the side that don't work. But other than that, I was like, boom, I'm sold. I need this van. I messaged the guy. I'm like, dude, I need this van. And he's like, yeah, sure. Come look at it. I was like, okay, well, I can't look at it for like another 2 weeks because I won't be in Salt Lake. And he's like, that's fine. And then I start freaking out because I'm like, what if someone else buys it? Or what if like I go to look at it and it's not what I want it to be? And blah, 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 blah. And I'm freaking out. And my friend Justin, who's so good at like looking at you and just then knowing everything about you in the best way possible. And he looks at me and he goes, I feel like you're always grasping at things. And I feel like if you don't have anything to worry about, you're grasping for other things to worry about. And I was like, yes, that's true. Yes, and he was like, well, I would invite you to not do that. I would invite you to release. And I was like, I'll try. And I tried, and I had some minor success. But those words have actually stayed with me a lot through this trip, and I'm very grateful for him. He's just a wonderful person. And of course, we go to look at the van, and I got it. And I love it. His name is Apollo. He's the best. And he's also a 25-year-old vehicle. So the first week after I bought him, my front driver's side door wouldn't open for about 3 months. So I had to climb it through the passenger side and then climb across to get to drive. If I go over 80 miles an hour, my side view mirrors will flip in, so then I can't see. And if my curtains are in the middle of, I have no mirrors at all, so that's really fun. I fit 2 deer. I've done a complete 180 on the highway. When I first moved to Yellowstone, it would just die in the middle of the road and would not turn back on. And I was like, you can't do that to me. We got that problem fixed. Most of these problems we've gotten fixed, but I obviously had to put a lot of money into this van. But and when these things happen, I get so upset because I'm like, why did I do this? I never should have bought a van. I should have just gone back to New York. This is the stupidest thing I ever could have done, blah. But more often than not, I'm driving down the highway and I'm blasting the music and I'm looking out the window and I'm just like, this is the best thing ever. And I do this really stupid thing where like, I imagine there's like a film camera just like right on my dashboard and I like look out the window. I'm like, And I feel cool when I do it. So that's enough, right? And I know you're probably wondering, because everybody asks me, how do you go to the bathroom when you live in a van? And the answer is you dig a hole. So here's a song I wrote about my van. Ba, 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 da, ba, 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 ba. Door closed, wheel down, breathe in and breathe out. And breathe in again. Find your keys in the mess. You just had to undress and get dressed for the next occasion. My van is my closet, my bedroom, my locker, my gear store, my kitchen, the powder room and den. In each situation, my van keeps on singing that same old melody. He's singing ba 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 ba. Drive far, sing loud, speak thoughts and scream out. 'Cause no one can hear you. Here you are safe. This is your escape. To be whoever you want to. My van is my best friend, my zen place, creative space, my smoke spot, my chill spot, my nowhere to go spot. In mountains, in deserts, in deep woods, on highways, that same old melody. He's singing ba 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 da, ba 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 ba. I wanna go for a ride, and I wanna go for a ride.
From Salt Lake to Junction to Moab to the Tetons to Yellowstone to Bozeman, back to Yellowstone and then back again to Bozeman, to Vegas to J Tree to Big Skies, that same old melody. He's singing ba 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 da, ba 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 ba. Door closed, wheel down, breathe in and breathe out, and breathe in again.
I wrote that.
So, okay, great, I have a band. Now what? So the boys leave, and Mickey's parents are great. Jack and Helen Reeve, thank God for them. They let me stay at their house in Grand Junction for like a month to get my life together. And Mickey and I are trying to find jobs. And we're looking, and I'm applying. I applied to hang Christmas lights in Salt Lake City. They never got back to me. I applied to do a ropes course in Colorado. They never got back to me. I applied to work at a preschool in Yellowstone. And I was pretty excited about this preschool job. I was like, wow, what a cool experience. Like I never would have had, this is cool. I want to do this. And then as I'm about to accept the job, I get this potential job offer to teach dance for like 3 months in Chicago. And I'm like, what do I do? Because I mean, I really want to take this Yellowstone job, but like, should I take the job that lets me keep dancing every day and stay in shape and like just make sure that I'm ready when Broadway comes back? Like, what do I do? And I was freaking out. And I remembered this thing when I was cleaning up my apartment to put it all in storage in New York. I found all my college evals. And in musical theater programs, they often will gather the faculty and like tell you like how you've improved that semester. And my freshman year acting teacher wrote this to me. And she said, I would encourage Jonathan to loosen the strict guidelines he puts on himself of preconceived notions he has of the correct way to do something. Drawing conclusions too soon limits his exploration and depth of understanding. I encourage him to seek out other perspectives and truly entertain them, especially when he thinks he has found the right answer. I try too hard, 'cause I wanna win, but there's no winning, there's only giving yourself to everything you do. How can I give any less than what is true for me to be the person that I'm trying to be? So one day I can say that I did everything. I want to try everything. I want to try everything. I want to do it all. But I always find myself at a crossroads. Life is all about balance. But each day more and more it feels like a tug of war. I feel I always had to choose. And either way, I always somehow lose. Why do I have to always choose between all the things that make me me? I want to try everything. I want to try everything. I want to try everything. I wanna do it all. Whoa, I wanna be bright lights center stage. I wanna be on Broadway. I wanna climb Yosemite. I wanna highline in Joshua Tree. I wanna work in Yellowstone. I wanna teach all about Jerome. I wanna hang Christmas lights in Salt Lake. I wanna inspire and motivate. I wanna do it all. I wanna see it all. I wanna know that I can say I dip my hand in everything. Each new thing I try is one more thing that I can learn from and pull from. It all makes me more whole. I want to know that I can say I did it all, I didn't shy away. You can do if you just try. Please don't let your life fly by. Choices suck, but they mean much more than when you get everything that you bargained for. So try to try everything, everything, everything. You cannot try everything, everything, everything. If you could try everything, 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 then everything would mean nothing. Obviously, I took the Yellowstone job, and I have not regretted it. It's been an amazing experience. And so on August 12th, my birthday, in case anyone was wondering, I'm a Leo. I left Grand Junction, and I started my way towards, stop shaking your head, Gavin. I started making my way towards Yellowstone, and I realized this is the first time in this entire experience that I'm entirely on my own. And like out here, I had the road trip friends, then I had the Reeves, and now it's just me and my van. I'm going someplace where nobody knows me. I do not know them. And I'm excited. I'm like, okay, this is a new chapter. I know how to do this. I know I can do this. And also what's really cool is that when I first started research, I was like, I want to work in a national park. That didn't happen. But then 3 months later, here I am going to work and live in a national park. So I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. So I start making my way up, and I go through the Tetons, and it's very important to stop at the Tetons because I had a friend named Drake D'Ambra, and he and Mickey helped me put the curtains up in my van. So thank you very much. I have privacy now. And he was like, you have to do this hike. It's called Hermitage Point. And I was like, okay. And I start driving into the Tetons, and suddenly I see all these signs, and they say, be bear aware. Bear food storage required. Carry bear spray. And I'm like, what's bear spray? And I'm freaking out because I'm like, okay, I got to this hike pretty late in the day. The sun's going down. It's a long hike. And I'm scared of bears because I don't want to die. And the number one thing to not do is hike by yourself. But here I am. So I screamed through the scores of Wicked and Legally Blonde, and it clearly worked because no bears showed their face. But those are some of the best riffs I've ever done in my life. You'll just have to believe me. If a boy riffs in the forest, do you hear him or not? Some people did. Some people were like, why are you riffing? I was like, I thought I was on this hike by myself. It's quite awkward. But again, I'm working on not caring about what other people think, so who cares? But anyways, I go back, I find this great spot to camp with my van, beautiful view of the Tetons. I built a tap board out of the remnants of my bed build, so I did some tapping in the Tetons. I love alliteration. And that was great. And then the next day, I make my way towards Yellowstone, and I think the best way to describe my first impression of Yellowstone is to read my journal entry the day I arrived. On August 16th, 2020, I said, I'm at the hike in the Montana part of Yellowstone, Rescue Creek, which for 3 months I thought was Rescue Circle. I'm in Montana, by the way. Pause. I did not know that the northern sliver and the western sliver of Yellowstone are in Montana. Who knew? What a great surprise. And I'm just so excited for life. It's so beautiful here. I love Yellowstone. Not gonna lie, the bottom wasn't as exciting because it felt the same as the Tetons, but the top, the hot springs are dazzling. The water is pristine, near perfection. The rocks are beautiful gray and purples. And I think this is purple and rocks, purple mountain majesties in real life. I can't believe I'm here. Mary seems cool. She's 22. I thought she was going to be 50. I have a room to stay in, but good because my van smells bad. But I like her a lot
Per usual, I talked a lot and didn't stop. I was nervous, but I asked her a bunch of questions. I need to be better at not assuming what people are going to say and cutting people off. Anyway, I am happy this world is awesome. So a few things to touch on here. Number one, I was only supposed to work here for 6 weeks and then go back to New York in the fall of 2020. Ha! It's almost the fall of 2021, in case you didn't know. So that clearly didn't happen. Two, I was told I was going to park my van in the driveway of this woman, Mary's house, and I would just share the common spaces. So I arrived and I had a room and I was like, great. So yes, I've lived in a room for like the last 3 or 4 months, but I'm literally moving back into my van like next week. So don't worry, calm down. But I hear I'm going to live with this girl named Mary. And I'm like, wow, I feel like she's going to be this 50-year-old woman who's never left Wyoming. And I'm so excited to become her best friend. Turns out Mary's 22 and really cool and awesome, and I love her a lot. Shout out to Mary Terrell. But don't worry, there's plenty of middle-aged women in Yellowstone I've become great friends with. And so for those who don't know, I need to quickly touch on where I live. So I live in Mammoth, Wyoming, which is inside Yellowstone National Park, which is really cool. I live right next to the hot springs, which I just learned are an anomaly thermal feature, but I can't really get more detailed than that. Yellowstone is on an active volcano, and that's really cool, so I could die someday soon. And it's the first national park, and it was a national park before National Park Service was a thing, so that's pretty cool. And then 10 miles north, or not 10 miles, 10 minutes, whoa. 10 minutes north is the north entrance of the park, and that is in a place called Gardner, where I'm currently standing, and you are all sitting. And, oh gosh, there was one other really important thing I had to mention about Yellowstone. Mary, do you remember? She's heard this show every day for the last month. Do you remember? Neither do I. Anyway, oh yeah, Mammoth is the only part of the park that stays open year round, which I think is really cool. Well, the north to the northeast entrance, but same thing, whatever. So anyways, that's where I live. And I start working at a preschool, which is really fun and also really stressful at times, but also really fun. And I'm the assistant teacher to the junior rangers, which are 1.5 to 3.5. And their main focus is potty training. There's one thing I didn't know how to do before I got here that I kind of know how to do now. It's potty training. Suddenly, 6 weeks later, I find that I'm the sole teacher for the junior rangers. Now it is my sole responsibility to make sure these kids are potty trained. It's okay. I have a really great co-teacher now, and she's awesome. But these kids are great. I really love my kids, and I will often play Broadway musicals for them while they're in the gym, and then I will try to describe Broadway musical plots during lunch and snack time, and sometimes I have to very PG them. And very often I will just perform them for them, which I don't think they really care for, but I do it anyways, because I'm having fun. Why aren't you? And if these kids leave these preschool and are not musical theater fans, they are dead to me. That's not true. Obviously, I will love them forever, but I will be a little bit sad. So anyways, but one thing I don't like that they do is when the elk are at the fence of the playground, they're like, ah! And I'm like, leave them alone, they're elk! They will hurt you. If there's a fence, I don't care. The first time I ever saw an elk, it was in Olympic National Park with my road trip crew. And we were not sure if it was an elk or a baby moose because none of us had ever seen an elk before. And Callaway, the most of us all, was like, guys, if it's a baby moose, we're in trouble. Because if there's a baby moose, there's a mama moose, and you just don't want to mess with moose. And it was the baby elk. It was tiny. It wasn't even a baby elk. It was just a normal elk. But what I would not give to be that mystified by elk again. Because when I first moved here, it was the beginning of the elk rut, better known as elk mating season. And during elk mating season, the male elk are the ones with a big rack. They plant their feet and they make this god-awful sound called bugling. And it sounds like a child dying. When you work in a preschool, the last thing you want to hear is a child dying. Oh, God. But it's also really cute because the elk calving season is coming up, which I didn't know. And bison calving season is happening right now. And it's so cute. And I was like, oh, this is so cute. It's like the circle, more than cute. It's majestic. It's beautiful. This is like the circle of life. Like, I'm really here in nature. This is awesome. And I'm watching these elk fall in love, not to anthropomorphize these elk, but they're falling in love. And I'm like, oh, like I feel so good. I feel like I'm in a place where I've moved on from my last heartbreak, and I feel like I'm in a place where my heart is open and I'm ready to love again. And I wrote this song, so enjoy it. Excuse me. Excuse me again. The elk stands on the hill to prove his love with his will. Through these tools for your assistance, so you can find him in the distance. Until he grew them for you, to prove that he'll protect you. He'll call with all his might, so you can find him in the night. Come on, I wait, I wait. Come on, I wait, I wait. The bison follows around the lady that he has found. You'll follow closely from a distance to prove his love with persistence. Respectfully he waits, for she has to debate. And so he'll never waver till she accepts him in her favor. Come on, I wait, I wait. Come on, I wait, I wait. An olden timeless tale of lovers scared to fail. The bison, elk, and hare, the eagle, trout, and the hare. So now it's me with you, as life for centuries will do. And so I proudly join the throng to prove my love with my song. Come on, I wait, I wait. Come on, I wait, I wait. I wrote that. So one thing I really wanted to make sure I kept doing when I got here was climbing. I really wanted to make sure I could keep climbing because I was like, I really love climbing and I want to get better. And one thing you need to do to climb is you need a partner. And I decided that I wanted a gay climbing partner because, well, I don't know if you knew, I'm gay. Shocker. And even though I know this is not true, sometimes it feels like I'm the only gay person in Yellowstone and I just needed a gay friend. And I know that's not true and I have wonderful gay friends and I love them a lot. But at the moment I didn't feel that way. And so I wanted an app that gay people often go on. And if you know what it is, great. If you don't worry about it. And I know you're all gonna ask me after the show, what is the app? You don't need it, a gay man.
So I go on, and my sole purpose is to find a platonic climbing partner. Did I say that right, Gavin? Platonic. And Gavin gave me shit earlier because I said plutonic. But also I said it wrong. You know where this is going. And so I talked to some really great guys who are very experienced in climbing. And the most experienced was a man named Gavin. And you know, he seemed to be a very experienced alpine climber, ice climber, mountain climber, outdoorsman. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, let's hang out. Let's go climb. And we kept trying to make plans, and my van kept breaking down. And he almost canceled on me, actually. He almost was like, you know what, forget it. But the third time it worked. And so we go climbing. And I'm like, Mary, will you please come with me? I really don't want this guy to hit on me. I feel like I just want him to know I just want to be friends. And like all of his pictures on the app are like blurry pictures of him climbing from behind. So I have no idea what he looks like. And I'm like, can you just please come with me? And she's like, yeah, sure. And then she's also a great climber too. So now we climb. And yeah. So we get there. And out of the car steps this very tall, beautiful man. And I turn to Mary and I go, oh my God, he's so hot. And we start climbing with him. He's very sweet, very shy, quiet guy. Hanging out with him. And so a little bit about Gavin. As I said, he's a very, very, very experienced outdoorsman. He is a pre-med student. He doesn't like when I call him a doctor, even though he's a doctor. He's a pre-med student at MSU. And he took 2 gap years, one to work on an ambulance and another one to do a bunch of NOLS courses, which are these outdoor, like crazy courses where you like go into the wilderness for a month and learn things. And so he's very experienced. And he also has worked at this ranch since he was a camper at 14, and now he works there, and he co-owns 2 horses. He's done horseback riding once, which was horrific. And then we also bonded over our love of fantasy novels. And we exchanged literature. I have done a much better job of keeping up my end of the bargain than he has. So yell at him for that. But one tangent I feel like I must go on, I have to save you all from pain, is one of Gavin's favorite things in the world is ice climbing. Ice climbing is a miserable sport. Never do it. It's terrible. So basically, water freezes and you're like climbing a waterfall. Sounds fun, right? Wrong. You have these 2 ice axes and then these things on your feet that you like stick into the waterfall, and you just start climbing up. It sounds easy, right? Wrong. Your hands start hurting so much that you have these things called the screaming barfies, where you want to scream and vomit at the same time. Tell me that's fun and I won't believe you. Terrible. So I refuse to ice climb. I'll try it again, but whatever. Anyway, so Gavin and I start dating. If you haven't figured that much out yet, we have. And we are both also very apparent of the fact that I am leaving. I will be leaving at some point. And I'm also, that coupled with what I've learned from my past relationship of like throwing myself way too far into that relationship, I'm kind of keeping Gavin a bit of an arm's length. And I wrote a song about it, so. Here we go. I wanna leave because as soon as I do, I get that good feeling of missing you. You got me wrapped around your finger. I don't know when it happened, but it did. Now you got me writing love songs. Don't you see what you're doing to me? Don't stop, baby, yeah. And though I love it when we're together, don't wanna be in your arms forever. No, I wanna leave because as soon as I do, I get that good feeling I'm missing you. Oh, I wanna leave because as soon as I do, I get to come running back to you. You know I love you, oh no. You know I love you, oh no. All right, you got me. I said it, I love you. Oh, please believe me when I say it, cause I do. But I've been here before, and so I'm insecure. But you got my walls ready to fall. Baby, we can have it all. And so I love it when we're together. But I don't wanna be in your arms forever. No, I wanna leave, cause as soon as I do, I get that good feeling I'm missing you. Oh, I wanna leave, cause as soon as I do, I get to come running back to you. You know I love you, oh no. You know I love you, oh no. Alright, you got me, I said it, I love you. Alright, you got me, I said it, I love you. Alright, you got me, I said it, I love you. Oh, no. And though I love it when we're together, don't wanna be in your arms forever. No, I wanna leave because as soon as I do, I get that good feeling of missing you. Oh, I wanna leave because as soon as I do, I get to come running back to you. You know I love you, oh no. You know I love you, oh no. Oh God. I wrote that. That song's a workout. Oh my God. To go on this tangent, sorry. I took this improv class during quarantine, which was great, with the amazing Carl Kissen. And one of those classes was a musical improv class. He's like, Jonathan, and this is what every teacher ever in my life has ever said, I would love to stress the beauty of simplicity to you. And I'm like, but why? When I could just do all these chords, it'd be so fun. Anyways, so winter rolls around and the park shuts down, which is really cool. It's really cool to be in Yellowstone in a time when not a lot of people get to be in Yellowstone, in a way that not a lot of people get to be in Yellowstone. But you know, on the other hand, I am a summer person. I am best in summer. I love those memes where it's like, don't tell me seasonal depression is not a thing, because why does it feel like I pop the molly every time spring comes around? Because I'm like, I do great. And like the sun is like down before I get out of work. It's just miserable. And I'm also like I'm starting to have, thank you so much. My grumbles, thank you so much. I'm starting to have a bit of FOMO, or fear of missing out, for the city. I'm like, when is it time to go back? It's like, is the pandemic pandemic's still happening? Like, we're still shut down and okay. And I'm like, when do I go back to New York? I've always said I want to go back to New York when it's time. I really want to make sure I come back. But I'm still here. And like, on the other hand, I'm like really starting to develop a life here. So I have this acting class that I teach on Tuesdays. 2 of my kids are here. Hey, Georgie, hey, Ray. They had their performance last week and they did so great. I'm so proud of them. Nico Woodcosta, she had mentioned, I got to direct and choreograph her show, which was so fun. It's just so fun to do theater for the sake of doing theater, because it's fun and not for any other reason, but we wanted to, which was really special. And I'm also trying my best at the same time to dance as much as I can to stay in shape. And so I probably might get in trouble, but I would sneak into the MCC, even though it's technically closed, and I would take the key out of the janitor's closet and I would open the dance room and dance on the rubber mats. And for anyone who's ever danced on a Marley floor, you know how terrible dancing on rubber mats are. It's terrible, but I did it anyways. And so I actually started dancing outside a lot because I was like, oh, I have all this space. Why don't I do that? That's great. So I'm becoming very involved in my life here. And I think a lot of performers have had some semblance of these thoughts. And I'm starting to think, well, what happens when it's time to go back? And what if I don't want to go? What am I going to do? And I'm kind of having these thoughts and I'm not really living in the moment. And I'm like, well, you know what? This is the only time I'm ever going to live in an experience like this. Like, this is such a strange, amazing experience. And this is happening now. So I need to be here now. And I was like, okay, I need to lean in. And you know, it's really special to like be a teacher in a small community because like you really get to know the families and they go over for dinner and everybody knows each other and it's like pretty magical and it's awesome. And like most of Gardner's here tonight because there's not many more people than this. There's technically like 800 people in Gardner, but I don't know those people. You're the only people I know. And so I decided to lean in. And one way I choose to lean in is that even though I know I'm leaving, I decided I want to tell Gavin that I love him. And after I did that, I sang him this song. Can I say it? And then he cried, and it was really cute. I knew I was gonna say it even if he asked me not to. Okay, come back to the somber mood. This is a somber song. I fell in love with the mountains. I fell in love with the stone, with the sagebrush and the river, the yellow fields where the bison roam. And it's sad, you know, and I'm scared of falling deeper, but this part of my soul is rejoicing in folds. I wanna be a mountain man. I wanna saddle my horse and camp out under the stars. Hear the wolves cry as I breathe in the outside. No matter where you are, a mountain's never far. I fell in love in the mountains. I fell in love in the snow. He showed me how to live in the he always kept me warm. And it's sad to know, and I'm scared of falling deeper. I keep stopping myself from giving all of me to you, my mountain man. Can we saddle our horses and camp out under the stars? Hear the wolves cry as we breathe in the outside, and stay with you forever in your arms. But we both know I can't stay forever, and I'll have to leave with the warmer weather. But it's just so easy to do together, so I'd rather love and lost than to have never. So will you be my mountain man? Can we saddle our horses and camp out under the stars? Hear the wolves cry as we breathe in the outside. And when I go, I'll gladly take the scar. No matter where you are, the mountain's never far. Okay, you can clap. Oh my God, feelings, what are those? I wrote that. If you haven't figured it out yet, I'm gonna say that after every song. Jesus Christ. All right, let's bring it up. So winter, we already did that. The holidays roll around and Christmas comes, and obviously I cannot go home because we're in a pandemic. Didn't know if you know, but we are. And thank you. And Gavin and I decided we're gonna go on vacation. And so we're like, we're gonna go down. I can't look at him right now. We're gonna go down to Joshua Tree. We're gonna do some climbing. We're gonna go up to Red Rocks for Christmas, have Christmas with his friend, and then we're gonna go to Big Sky for New Year's, where Gavin is a volunteer ski patroller, but we'll get there. Don't worry about it. And so we go, and a year before I said I had gone on this huge road trip, and my first destination is the word, was Joshua Tree. And when I was doing research, I was like, oh, people climb here. I really want to get into rock climbing, but I've never climbed before and I don't know how to do it. So I didn't think about it. But here I am a year later climbing in Joshua Tree. And I'm like, well, how cool is that? So we go, and it's really hard. Wow, climbing in Joshua Tree is very difficult. Everything is sandbagged and the rock is very painful, but it was fun. And then we go to Red Rocks and we climb there, which is great. And then we go up to Big Sky. So as I said, Gavin is a volunteer ski patroller, which in the simplest of terms
is if someone gets hurt on the mountain, he skis down and helps them. And with that, he gets passes. So I have never skied before in my life. And Gavin's like, you're gonna ski. And I tell you, he and his brother too, they're both ski patrollers and amazing skiers. If you ski with the Faulkners, there's no world where you're not gonna be a good skier. And one thing that's great about Gavin is that not only is he a wonderful person and a wonderful man, and not only does he have a wealth of knowledge, he also has a wealth of gear. And we are the same size. So Big Sky, let me tell you about Big Sky. I'm sorry, Brandon. Big Sky is the biggest skiing in America. It's one of the top 3 ski resorts in North America, and it's the only place I've ever skied. And I feel bad because I feel like if I ever go skiing anywhere else, I'm gonna be like, this sucks. And skiing in the West is so much harder than skiing in the East. So like a blue or like a medium route is like a triple black diamond, the hardest of the hard out East. So I can't wait to shred it up, you know. And everyone's like, wow, and I'd be like, yeah. But you know. So Gavin Gavin did lend me skis, but now I have my own skis, which are these skis. Oh my God, you know what I also didn't mention, that this show, true life theater fashion form, we were supposed to be next door at Wonderland, but then there was rain in the forecast, and so we are now here. Hence this wonderful set. So huge shout out to Nico for helping me make this happen. She is an absolute star, and I love her a lot. So that's why my skis are here. These are kind of random, but they're here and they make me feel loved. And so Gavin and I start skiing. And well, actually before that, I was in a restaurant in the base area. That's the word. Words are hard. And I was writing my journal. I was like, wow, this is so crazy. 2 days ago, I was in Joshua Tree with all these dirtbag climbers. And now I'm here in Big Sky with all these bougie skiers. I'm like, I feel like I'm this chameleon just like shifting form and just like going in between all these different places. And it's all thanks to Gavin's gear. So thank you. Anyways, so we start skiing. And I pick it up pretty quickly. And when I pick something up quickly, I get very angry when I don't progress as quickly as I picked it up. And so Gavin has been screamed at a lot. And he's been very patient with me, and I'm very grateful for that. But I quickly made it my goal that I wanted to ski the summit by the end of the season. So I skied maybe 18 times, maybe. And I skied the summit second last weekend. Thanks, Lena and Mitch. I did it. I made my goal. Feel really cool about that one. But Gavin loves to remind me, and it's good that he reminds me that, it's okay to work at something. It's okay to not be good at something immediately. I'm like, no, it's not. I must do everything. And this became very prevalent when we were climbing in a different situation. And I was really mad because I was doing a route that I felt like I should have been able to do. I was like, why can't I do that? And I yelled at him. And he was great. And we get in the car and he goes, why do you climb? And I was like, because I want to be better. He goes, no. I said, because I want to be the best. He was like, no. I was like, then I don't know. He goes, I'm trying to get you to say because you love it. I was like, oh, well, yeah, there's that. He goes, that should be the only reason you climb. There should be no other reason. And I was like, well, yeah, I guess it's true. And he's right. And he's really great about helping me remember that it's fun to do things because they're fun. And we climb because it's fun. We ski because it's fun. I do theater because it's fun. So I'm very grateful for that lesson that I'm still working on. But right before we leave for this vacation, we start driving, and I did not think my van was going to make it, but it did. And Gavin and I are talking. He's like, listen, I know you're leaving, whatever. Can we just live in this moment and have fun and just be with each other? I'm like, yeah, man, let's do it. And it was super fun. I wrote a song about it. You and me in Joshua Tree, feeling good. Climbing rocks and soaking sun, just like we should. Winter feels a million miles away. But by tomorrow we'll be longing for this yesterday. The vacation song, this is the vacation song. I'll put my phone on airplane mode. You can leave a message at the tone. Vacation song, this is the vacation song. No matter where we go or what we do, I'm just glad to do it all with you. I let you drive my van, that's a big deal. It just goes to show the trust I feel.
I'm so used to flying solo. It's fun to have someone who makes me go with the flow. A vacation song, this is a vacation song. I put my phone on airplane mode, you can leave a message at the tone. Vacation song, this is the vacation song. No matter where we go or what we do, I'm just glad to do it all with you. There's lows like when you lost your climbing shoes. That happened. So we drove back into town to buy you shoes. You were mad our day was cut in half, but by the end we couldn't help but laugh. Vacation song, this is the vacation song. I put my phone on airplane mode, you can leave a message at the tone. Vacation song, this is a vacation song. No matter where we go or what we do, I'm just glad to do it all with you. Every day I fall a little more in love with you. Say it with me. I wrote that. No one said it. Not a one. So before we get into this last song, well, actually, before we get into the moment before the last song, it is true. Gavin lost his climbing shoes and we had to buy new ones. It was really funny. Anyways, before we get to this last song, there are 6,150 people I need to thank. First off, I need to thank the Electric Peak Arts Council for making this happen. I not only did they give me money, I would not have done this if they had not. It gave me a fire under my ass to do this, and so I'm really, really grateful for them. This is not something I ever thought was possible, and I'm just really, really happy for this opportunity for the Art of Quarantine. So thank you, and thank you to Jenny Golding for really, and Nico for pressuring me to apply for this. Like, you really should apply for this. I was like, I don't know. They're like, no, you should. I was like, okay, and I did. And now here we are. So thank you for being here. Another huge thank you. Obviously, I have to thank Nico again because she's the light of my life, and she made this possible. And she was so calm today while I was freaking out because the live stream wouldn't work, and there was so much technology problem, and I was on the verge of tears. But it worked out, I'm assuming, and everything's great. So there's really no way to know. I see people commenting, so I'm assuming they like it. I don't know. But anyways, thank you, Nico. I have to thank, okay, I cannot forget a person. Ben Sears, Natalie, Joseph Allen, Morgan Hecker, Kira Stone, oh God, Trey McIntyre, Nicholas King, my friend Nigel. Who else has heard these songs literally 60,000 times? And Dante Norris, and we'll get Mary, you're getting your own special thank you, so don't get mad at any page in this, for literally listening to these songs 60 billion times. Really appreciate it. Huge shout out to Mary Terrell, my roommate, who has dealt with me being me in full force. She has also, as I've said, heard this show every day for a month and a half and knows these songs by heart and will often sing them back to me, which I appreciate. Huge shout out to Gavin, who I love a lot, who also was really helpful with the live stream and is just a really wonderful, supportive person. And I love you and you're amazing. Thank you. Oh my God, huge shout out to, I did this artist accountability group in the month leading up to this. So the Collectus group, they're amazing. They've really helped me stay on track and kept me motivated and encouraged. So thank you for everybody in that Collectus group. Aiden Morton for the graphic. I don't know if any of you saw the graphic. I've posted it 60 billion times. So he made that and I'm really grateful for that. And also a huge thank you to Jim Pico on sound. I would not be here without you. And most importantly, I have to thank my family, but even more importantly, my parents, even more importantly, my mommy, because every step of this process, I have been like, I'm doing this. And they've been like, okay, but they haven't been like, no, don't do that. That's stupid. And even if they didn't fully understand what I was doing when I was doing it, they've always been so supportive and been like, yes. And they've caught me when I fell. Gavin corrected my grammar on that one too. They caught me when I fell.
And they've just been the best. So I'm so grateful for them. Thank you, Mom. Happy Mother's Day. I love you a lot. Everybody give a shout out for my mom. Yeah! That one's for you, Mom. So, oh my God, how do I start this transition? Oh my God. Oh, yes. No, oh, yes. We're back on track. Thanks for your patience. Live theater, everybody. So, while this all sounds fun and dandy and a great time, this shit's hard. It's really hard. And there's days when I just feel so miserable and I'm like, why did I do this? This is the stupidest decision I've ever made. I read in my journal once, I said, I hate those days when you feel like you're in pieces. But then you have those days, which are more often than not, and boom, you feel on and you feel like lightning, and it's amazing. And everybody talks about how you like find yourself in your 20s. Your 20s are for finding yourself. And I would say I definitely found a good portion of myself on this trip. I feel like there are these two sides of me, this outdoor person and this artistic person. And I have felt that they've always been at each other's throats, that they could never go hand in hand. But I can be that person. I am both. I am fully both of those people in the same person. And I'm really, really excited to go back to the city and an industry that is redefining itself as this person that is me, and be fully in that and be okay with that. And I had a friend, I still have this friend, they're still my friend, named Rob Schneider. And I was talking to him about an interaction that I had with someone I really admire. And I was like, Rob, they probably think I'm so crazy. He said, you know what I say to that? Next time, be even crazier, because then at least you're consistent. I was like, it's so true. I'm so excited to go back and be my consistently crazy self. I'm so tired of being scared of doing the wrong thing or saying the wrong thing or whatever. I'm just so ready to be me and really conquer that and really step into my power. And while I'm so excited to go back to the city, and Broadway's reopening in September, and that's really great, and live theater's coming back, I'm also really sad because I really love this place and I love this experience, and it's just been really amazing. And what's really cool about being here is meeting people and having friends who have all had an experience here. And if it's taught me anything, it's that there's a time to come to Yellowstone. And for some people this is true, and some people it's not. And there's a time to leave Yellowstone. And my time is coming. And I'm still here for 2 more months. You're not gonna ruin me that quick. But it's time to go. And what's really has inspired me so much is, as I've invited people to come see the show, how many people have reached out to me and told me they're like, you're so lucky you've had this time in Yellowstone. It's such a special place, and it's my favorite place on earth. And you really don't realize how many people Yellowstone has touched. And it's really cool to feel a part of that community. So my friend Lena, she works at the museum. Is it the Yellowstone Museum? Is that what it's called? The Yellowstone Museum. And one day she sent me pictures because she works there, and she found these pictures, and there was this group of people who were performers, and they're called the Savages. And they were concessionaires. They worked all over the park, but the main purpose their main job requirement is that they were okay performing in front of people. And I think how cool it was that almost 100 years later, here I am, this performing savage. Rinky dinky dinky. And I just think that's really special and really cool. And so, like I say, everywhere I go, I have these spots. And Yellowstone is no different. There's a pull-off. If you've seen a gray van there, that's my spot. And you probably all know where it is. Everybody's nodding. Yes, that's hilarious. And it's a great spot. It's right by the river. And again, I often sing through the musical theater canon there. And I wrote in my journal, I said, I feel like this river is quickly becoming my friend. And it became a goal of mine very quickly that I wanted to cross it. And water is very scary. It is a very strong element. It made the Grand Canyon. It can literally cut canyons into stone. And you can fight the river as much as you want, but all you're gonna do is tire yourself out. And you're still gonna be whisked away to the sea, because the river always keeps going to the sea. And if that ain't a metaphor for life, I don't know what is. And so one day I crossed it, and I was like, hey, I did it. And guess what I found on the other side? I'll tell you. A natural water slide. And here's the thing about natural water slides. They are very dangerous because you don't know exactly if they work. And so I was like, this is scary, but I need to do this because if I don't, then what's the point of crossing the river? Like, I have to do this. And if you fight it, if you fight the water, you're gonna bash your head in. That's just what's gonna happen. But if you trust the water and you let it take you where it's supposed to go, you're gonna come out okay. And at the end of this particular one, you're completely submerged underwater and the water's rushing down on you. And it's kind of scary for a second, but you always come out the other side. You always resurface. And it's just made me think so much of like, I have to do this. It scares me. I have to do it. Packing up my entire life in New York and putting it all in a storage unit to move out west with a duffel bag and a backpack is scary, but I did it. Buying a van with no prospects is scary, but I did it. Literally rock climbing is scary, but I do it. Moving back to New York in an industry that has not been active for a year and a half, that is in the midst of finding a new definition for itself, is really scary. But I have to do it. And I implore you, I beg you, please, 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 if there is something scary, there's something that scares you that you want to do, oh my God, you have to do it. Because I promise you, every time it will be an incredible adventure. So thank you so much for being here tonight. I hope you like this last song. I watch the river flow, watch it go towards the sea. I watch the river go, and I know one day it'll come for me. My day to meet the sea. 6 weeks turned 6 months, turned over a year. I'm not who I was or who I tried to be. Daylight shrank, came through once more. All the while, river still kisses the shore. I watch the river go, watch it flow, go towards the sea. I watch the river go, and I know one day it'll come for me. My day to meet the sea. Edges are softened and slowly erode, making canyons deep in the snow. The river will do whatever it wants, pushing, shoving, moving, flowing, loving, growing, knowing, never slowing. I watch the river go, watch it flow, go towards the sea. I watch the river go, and I know one day it'll come for me. Whoa, 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 no. Back where I started. Don't know what's next. On the brink of adventure once again. It makes my heart flutter. I'm scared to the bone, but I know I'll find my way home. Oh, I watch the river flow, and I know one day it'll come for me. Oh, I watch the river flow, and I know
one day it'll come for me. My day to meet you. My day to meet the sea. My day to meet the sea. That's it. I wrote that. Peace out, Scouts. And broadcast. And